Hi, I'm Luna here with an astrology update for the 4 planets starting retrograde this moon cycle. The planets are Pluto, Saturn, Venus, and Jupiter. Pluto starts its retrograde April 25th in Capricorn, and that lasts until October 4th. This is the longest retrograde of the 4 and encompasses all of the other 3. Saturn retrograde starts May 11th in Aquarius. When a planet's retrograding, it appears to be moving backwards in the sky. So Saturn will actually move back into Capricorn on July 1st. This is the only one of the 4 planets that will be transiting back a zodiac sign. But what this signifies is a period of trying to go about things the old way, and that will prove to fail. But we'll talk more about that when we talk about Saturn's retrograde. The 3rd planet is Venus, which starts its retrograde May 13th, and this is the shortest of the planets to be retrograding. So that comes to a close on June 25th. The 4th planet is Jupiter, and that starts its retrograde May 14th in Capricorn. We have a few different things that happen along the way during the Pluto retrograde, which is our time frame for everything. But initially, all of these planets go retrograde. So May is very chaotic in the sense that we're overthinking and overanalyzing everything. The purpose of Pluto's retrograde is to bring about deep transformation. In order to affect any collective transformation, we need a lot of deep inner transformation. And the fact that the Pluto retrograde is in Capricorn means that we're going to see changes to home life and to our foundational level. Yes, we'll also see changes to governments and institutions and the rules, but those will really be motivated by the growth and awareness of individuals, and that goes hand in hand with the changes that will end up being made related to home life. Saturn is the planet of home life, institutions, rules, all of that. And Saturn is retrograding in Aquarius, saying that we're kind of moving backwards from thinking about the collective to wanting to think about ourselves again. And then Saturn goes into Capricorn, and that's when we go about trying things the old way, the way we're most comfortable with, our habitual patterning, which reveals our karmic debt, that which we were taught and hold on to, even though it does not serve our well-being or align with our highest selves. And then Saturn will return direct September 29th, but not enter Aquarius again until December 17th. So before these big collective changes happen, related to when Saturn is back in Aquarius, first we have to have this deep transformation on our home and foundational level. So May 22nd and June 3rd is early on in this whole cycle. On May 22nd, Mercury is conjunct Venus, and on June 3rd, the Sun is conjunct Venus. This is while Venus is retrograding. Venus retrograding gives us a tremendous amount of self-love. Love is the energy of Venus, and when it flows internally instead of externally, it gives us a lot of self-love. So as we have a lot of self-love, and Mercury connected to the throat chakra, is conjunct with Venus. Conjunct means the two are passing each other in transit, so they appear right in front of one another. Their energies get tied up and become like a superpower. So we give self-love to the throat chakra, which aligns with our highest self, our divine will. This love brings about knowing, brings about truth and clarity. And also the Sun conjunct Venus has to do with our roles and responsibilities. Responsibilities are not meant to be worn as a burden, right? We're supposed to give our energy to that which excites us and we love and we get fulfillment from. So when we pour our energy into that, then responsibilities are a really blessed thing. What's going on here with the self-love and the Sun is that you're going to have compassion and love for the roles and responsibilities you've taken on, that you actually have taken on from a place that was not truth or inner knowing and alignment with your highest self. This self-love is a way of building bridges, but it's going to be a while into the cycle before these bridges really form, because there's a period of chaos and illusion and delusion that erupts from June 5th, when we have a lunar eclipse, until July 5th, so this 1 month portal when we have a second lunar eclipse. I relate a lunar eclipse to illusion, because when you watch a lunar eclipse, it looks like a full moon cycle, 28 days, is occurring in an hour or 2 hours, and that's not real. So when we have a lunar eclipse, our thoughts are very much affected by what we perceive to be real and that which we see. But we see a lot of people's egos and we see a lot of people's lies. Anyone who's living out of alignment with that truth that we have been getting clarity on the past month, you can't see their truth yet. You can only see a little bit, so it's not great to really think about other people's realities, only that which you know to be true and you understand on a physical, emotional, mental, spiritual level, because otherwise it might not be real. It might just be a perception, and that is illusion. Then Mercury starts retrograde June 18th. This is like a week after the first eclipse. When Mercury retrograde happens, we have a lot of communication failures. Bridges are not being built well. They are being, built with hay and straw at the time. So it's best to really let things go, but save your most important conversations for when Mercury is direct again. On June 21st, we have a solar eclipse on a new moon. And where I relate the lunar eclipse with illusions, I would relate the solar eclipse with delusion. So essentially you are blinded by the light. Like if you look directly at the sun, eventually you'll start to see something that's not real. You'll start to see whatever you want. Like if you're really thirsty for a strawberry smoothie, then you might stare at the sun and there's a strawberry smoothie in your mind's eye. Now if you're an intuitive being or have done any third eye work, you might be very inclined to chase after that which you want, to try to manifest it and make it real. This isn't a bad idea, but at the time of the solar eclipse, you can be so blinded by the light and the optimism of it all that your grasp of reality is lost. After the solar eclipse, Venus returns direct on June 25th. And then June 30th, Jupiter is conjunct Pluto. This is a little story here, because once Venus is direct, the self-love shifts back to external flowing love, so you can give more love and compassion to the people in your life. But Jupiter is still in retrograde, so Jupiter relates to our emotions, and we're really going to want to reflect on that and why we're experiencing fear, or really why we're experiencing any of the emotions we are. But when Jupiter is conjunct Pluto, that's the superpower energy. It means, I get it, finally, transformation is ready here because, yes, I see it, I know it, I understand my emotions. The trouble with this is it's going on with all these eclipses. It's during the eclipse portal, so you might take on more than is realistic. Those illusions and delusions can feed into the dreams and visions you are chasing. On July 5th, we have that last lunar eclipse. This is when the full moon is conjunct Jupiter and Pluto. So emotions and feelings will be very high. I honestly am torn to say listen to them, don't listen to them, but just let them pass. Let them pass. It's hard to see clearly with all the chaos of other people's disharmonies of truths, and also your own desire for that which is unreal. On July 11th, Mercury returns direct. We're done with the chaos phase here, and now starting July 15th, when the Sun is opposite Pluto, and shortly after July 20th, the Sun is opposite Saturn, this is the hard part where we're going to put in the work to actually affect change at our home and foundational levels, as well as our roles and responsibilities. July 30th, the Mercury is opposite Jupiter, and Venus is quincunx Pluto. This is to say that practicality is challenged as a fading relationship dies. Everything going on with Venus and everything going on with Jupiter, you're really going to have awareness about any relationships built on previous versions of self. And when we expose karmic debt, our purpose is to let it go. So we very likely have to let go of the relationships attached to it. The relationship between Venus and Pluto, although it's still hard, it's gearing up to help us let that go, and that's why this fading relationship dies, because it is really apparent how much it has faded, because it faded from a previous version of self that maybe doesn't even exist anymore. On July, we just talked about July 30th, so then after that, August 1st, very next day, Mercury is opposite Pluto. August 3rd, Mercury is opposite Saturn. This is when we have a very important conversation. We know the truth. Our love is flowing in the right direction again, and we are ready to communicate from our highest self. This is when it happens. When Mercury is getting all the attention, August 1st to August 18th, you're going to bring a lot of resolution to reality, where your reality will align more with your inner knowing, and same with your partners and your friends and everyone in your life, because this is happening to all relationships all over. Then on August 25th, Venus is opposite Jupiter. This is really a chance for changes to relationships, yes, but more so new relationships. This is a chance for new relationships to come in. It's very likely by now whatever you let go of is gone, or the karmic debris is kind of starting to clear up, and as that does and Jupiter comes in, there's just so much room for new love and new relationships. That August 25th, Venus opposite Jupiter, is followed up 5 days later on August 30th by Venus opposite Pluto. This is about deep transformation to love and pleasure, which is why I make that connection that there will likely be new or shifts in relationships. We bring this full circle back to back to Saturn, who is the third to end its retrograde. So as we make changes to those relationships, now we have to kind of sit in the reality of our present resources. When what is gone, you start to struggle with what is. And that's where we close out these 4 retrogrades. We've ended deep transformation to our roles and responsibilities, to our relationships. But now to, again, go back to aligning our will with divine will, we have to take a lot of action from this new seat. From, like, when we sit in our seat of self, we're driving, we're steering the ship forward. So the way everything closes is on September 9th, Mars starts retrograde. And that is when we're going to shift into the action department. But for now, let's get to that point of bringing about tremendous change to our home, to our relationships, and letting go of our old self and move consciously towards our higher self. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my YouTube channel. That is the #1 way you can support me. Thank you so much for watching, and have a blessed journey on this crazy ride that is life. Namaste.